His attention just for 1 minute, and then you guys can go back to socializing and enjoying this fantastic music we're having. My name is Israel Moreno, and I am friends with Eden May, and there's a lot of people I don't know. Maybe some of you guys know me. I see some people. So this is the second annual Secret Post for Puerto Rico. This is an initiative that Eden put forth. So if you guys can give her a round of applause because she's a fantastic person with a really good heart. And when I met her, I knew she was a special person, and she's so charitable and humble, and she's got me involved just as a second time, and I'm just very happy to be able to have dear friends like her. So as you guys already know, in 2017 there was a hurricane in Puerto Rico, which was like a category 5, and a lot of people, homes were destroyed, many people died, that even the death count wasn't an easy thing to determine. So basically the movement is this: we're trying to facilitate the people in Puerto Rico who are needy. There's so many. Last time I was there, I couldn't believe what it looked like, because I was just there before a couple months, and it just looked like something had happened. Wasn't sure how to describe it. I just tell people that if you didn't know that a hurricane happened, you would say, what happened to this place? You clearly see something happened. So what I have here, this is a solar powered lantern, and has these different settings. Let me just do that again. That one, it has one that's like, yeah, there you go. So this is waterproof, and it floats in the water, and it also has a USB input plug, so you can charge your cell phone and other little gadgets like that. This will probably be really beneficial for people nowadays. So something like this goes for like $19.99, something like that. So this is collapsible, so it would completely collapse upon itself. We are trying to facilitate people with this. Now the idea is that we will try to, just the most poverty-stricken places. There's plenty of places that don't need them. When I was there, I just used the candle, and it was really nice and beautiful, just to be able to just read a book by a candle and stuff like that. But for other needs, like hospitals, places where they need electricity, we can see how important that is. This is emergency, like for emergencies. If you were to go without electricity, you would have some light to eat your meal or read a book, like I just said, or walk around. It's pitch black dark, mind you. Like when I was if I didn't have, I had one of these, and when I was walking around the farms and stuff like that, I just could not see. It was just that pitch black. So this right here, this is called a life straw, and just pretty self-explanatory. You kind of suck up through here, and water, whatever source you're going to be drinking it from, like a dirty source, someplace. This actually has the capacity to purify 1,000 liters of water if you were to go straight from like a river or et cetera, et cetera. So mind you, these are all just temporary fixes. This is not supposed to be like a full-term, long-term aid. This is just temporary until Puerto Rico pretty much catches up with everything else that's happening in the world. I think one thing that the hurricane put into perspective is what Puerto Rico is. So it's a colony. The infrastructure, even prior to the hurricane, could have been better with the electrical grid, the roads. Let's not even talk about the roads. The roads is a really important thing, because unless you guys don't know the history of Puerto Rico, the roads were never developed. It was only around the coasts where the Spaniards and the people had, colonized. They never actually got to colonize inside Puerto Rico or the mountains. We call that El Monte Adentro. So I was reading this Taino book that said, although the Spaniards had won the war, they kind of never really won, because they never really got to see the splendor and everything that Puerto Rico had to offer. So they basically never went to the mountains. They just did San Juan and around the coast, because that's what's their thing. But all the Tainos that were supposed to have been so-called extinct they went to the mountains. They didn't like the city, so they didn't want to be there, you know. So sometime in like the early 1800s, there was a census that took place, and they were deleted from the census. That's the only thing that ever happened. They still live in people's bloodlines. I did a DNA thing. Come to turn out, I'm like 25% indigenous, and so on and so forth. My family comes from a place that was one of the main pilgrimage sites. Humacao, there was a chief there. That's what I meant to say, not the main pilgrimage site. Puerto Rico itself is the main pilgrimage site for the Tainos that were congregating from Cuba, Santo Domingo, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much it. These are some of the things that we're trying to take down there. We're going to be going again. I got a team of people that I work with, some fantastic people that are helping me, and I can't stress that enough. It's not a one-man army. It's not a one-man thing. Although I go down there by myself, but it's not like that was the idea. It's open. People have family, and you know, if there's resources and you guys can facilitate coming, that'll be fantastic. This is like a nonprofit effort, so I couldn't be able to, like, you know, I mean, I wish I could take everybody. And yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. Like I'm saying, right now, it's about how Puerto Rico is going to proceed in the future. There's a lot of people taking advantage of the fact that, you know, it's recovering from a hurricane. There's this really weird $73 billion debt which needs to be addressed. We need to address how to abolish the antiquated Jones Act, which is pretty much keeping it from thriving and becoming pretty much a sovereign nation. And it's all very strategic on behalf of the U.S. And I'm not an anti-U.S. I'm just anti-capitalistic pigs. I'm not an anti-American. I'm an American citizen. You know, I was born in this country, but my mom and my father, they're from Puerto Rico. And, you know, you probably all know the story, that it is a colony, and it's used for so many different things. There's several military bases. There are a lot of the birth control and a lot of the medicines that are being experimented with since, like, back in the day take place there. It's just a really interesting place, man. And, you know, there's a small rainforest there. The ecosystem is really crazy and diverse. It has a lot to offer the world besides just being a tourist place. So there's people contemplating on having to be like the next Silicon Valley. And so there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk, and we would like people to get involved. And if you guys don't know exactly how to get involved, talk to me or to Eden May, or just go on the internet. All the information is readily available for you. But I recommend that you'll speak to a live person so you can get that experience. And yeah, I can go on and on because it's been happening for so many years. But thank you guys for listening. Once again, it's Life Straw and Solar Power Lantern. Thank you guys.